But it was the parish records in a tiny village church that turned up the biggest surprise.
I'd been tracing my grandfather's family back and I wanted to find a burial, and Taunton Record Office didn't have the burial register I wanted, but they gave me the church warden's telephone number and told me to contact him, which I did, and I met him at the church to have a look through the books. When I was having a look through the books, I found a piece of paper pinned into the burial register with an old rusty pin and a little tiny weeny piece of paper, and it said that Abraham had murdered his wife Mary Ann Reid. He'd poisoned her and he'd been hanged at Ilchester.
There were graphic details in a newspaper report on September the 7th, 1829, in the pithily named Western Flying Post and Sherborne and Yeovil Mercury.
On the 29th of June last, the prisoner called at the shop of a druggist named Waistcoat in North Molton, and by representing that he wished to destroy rats, obtained 3 ounces of arsenic. On the morning of the 5th of July, he purchased at the residence of a Mr. Hale half a pint of cream. On the 4th of July, the prisoner's wife was in good health, but on the following day, soon after she had partaken of the cream which the prisoner brought home, she complained of a great pain in her stomach. She was asked what she had eaten. She said cream, and added that there was arsenic in it. The prisoner was then asked where he purchased the cream, and his wife, interrupting the conversation, said, "You don't know what I know."
Mary Ann Reid died the next morning. The rest of the cream, we're told, was thrown out and promptly eaten by some pigs and fowls, who were also seized with vomiting and expired soon after. A post-mortem revealed identically inflamed stomachs in both the woman and one of the pigs. It also emerged in court that the husband belonged to a benefit club, which had paid out £3 on his wife's death. Thus, apprised of motive, the jury pronounced Abraham Reid guilty, and the Lord Chief Justice ordered that he should be executed and his body given to the surgeons for dissection. A nasty business, but clearly an enthralling story too. Jane Clements doesn't know for sure if she's connected to the murderer, although the surname and the parish do match, but she's keen to find out, and she's got a couple of clues to go on.
I have a Bible at home which actually has a William Reid in it, and although I've never been able to prove it, that William was related to Abraham, my great aunt told me in hushed tones that we were related to the family, and she knew about the murder.
Was it something that was hushed up in the family?
It had not been talked about until I stumbled across it. So yes, I think it had very much been hushed up.
Agatha Christie, eat your heart out, Nick. Was arsenic a popular method of doing away with inconvenient wives at that time?
Well, it's certainly a very extreme method. Most marriages couldn't be dissolved through divorce. There wasn't a divorce law at that time, so people would move away. Occasionally you get crimes of passion, a brutal stabbing or strangling. But this is very cold, very calculating, and arsenic seems to have played a very important part in many deaths of this nature.
Why?
Well, as a murder weapon of choice, it's quite popular in the sense that it's odourless and colourless, so you can mix it up with food and drink and the victim wouldn't really suspect anything. It doesn't give off a powerful smell or anything like that. But equally, it's ridiculously easy to get hold of. You could go up to a general chemist or druggist, ask for some arsenic for whatever reason you might want. Obviously, you wouldn't say you want to murder somebody. You'd probably get rid of vermin such as rats, which would plague people's houses in these days, and off you toddle. So it's very easy to get hold of.
And very easy, I imagine, to escape undetected from a crime like that. In this case, there was a post-mortem because the hapless murderer threw out his clotted cream to the pigs. But I imagine it wouldn't be easy to catch them normally.
Not in this day and age. I mean, the symptoms that arsenic brings on are sort of vomiting, and this is very similar to the general sort of waterborne diseases of the day, typhoid, for example, diarrhoea, because there's such poor sanitation. So if it wasn't for those pigs and fowls, the chances are Abraham would have got away with this scot-free, because so many people died of similar conditions, and you wouldn't automatically think, oh, that's another arsenic victim. It was just the way people died at that time.
And then arsenic was made more difficult to get hold of really quite soon after this incident, wasn't it?
Well, it was such a serious concern as more of these court cases came to light that in 1851 they passed the Arsenic Act, and this was to restrict the supply of arsenic. It made it much harder to get hold of these poisons. I mean, you'd have poison bottles, for example, which would have ridges so you could identify them quite quickly as being dangerous substances. They'd be brightly coloured, but there was certainly a worry that people were getting hold of it.